Now, for more on this, let's cross live to Beijing to speak with a chair professor of Soochow University, Victor Gao. It's nice to have you, Professor Gao. Now, Secretary of State Blinken. Thank you. Secretary of State Blinken is headed to China. Do you think he's bringing a copy of the U.S. rules-based order, and will Beijing be rolling out the red carpet for him?
Yes, you're right. Secretary of State Blinken is expected to arrive in China very soon, and China and the United States will need to engage with each other to talk about a whole range of issues. However, it is very important to see that the Chinese government made very important announcements just before the arrival of Secretary of State Blinken in China, declaring that the United States basically has no right to interfere in the normal relations between China and Russia. After all, China and Russia have a common border of more than 4,300 kilometers long, and the two countries engage with each other as equals. We respect each other, and the relations between each others are for mutual benefit. So the United States or any of the Western countries have no legitimacy and no right to try to interrupt or sabotage the normal relations between China and Russia. Now, the United States declared that if Russia gains more ground in Ukraine, they will hold China responsible. What hypocrisy it is. This is completely unrelated, and China is not a party to the Ukraine war, and China urges all parties to achieve ceasefire and to go back to the negotiation table to find a solution through diplomacy and peace. Therefore, I think Secretary of State Blinken has been warned just before he arrived in Beijing. And let's wait and see how China and the United States will engage with each other on this very important issue of the war in Ukraine. And no one should expect that China will budge under pressure from the United States. China basically will need to stand firm on its matters of principle and deal with Russia and all the other countries in a normal, mutually beneficial way, rather than be dictated by Washington.
Right. Now, recently, Western politicians have been keen to travel to China. German Chancellor Scholz just wrapped up his visit there in the past week. What's the significance of China to them at this time?
Well, first of all, I think more and more countries in the world recognize that the U.S. initiated decoupling from China is completely a mission impossible, and de-risking is a misnomer. And more Western leaders, including, as you mentioned, the German Chancellor, Scholz, who is very welcomed in China and who brought with him a large business delegation, CEOs and chairmen of major German companies to come to China to re-engage with the Chinese enterprises and industries, etc. It means that countries like China and Germany need to engage with each other as equals, and we have a lot of business to do for mutual benefit. And our bilateral relations, mean China-German relations, China-French relations, etc., should not be dictated by the geopolitical interest of another country, a third country. This will make the world a better place, a more peaceful place, and for countries like China and Germany and many other countries to focus on peace and development will be much better if we are allowed to be disrupted by threats of war by a third country.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Chair Professor of Soochow University, Victor Gao, thank you so much for your insight on this.